fast.
Yeah. We're joined by CEO of Bugatti Rimac, Mate Rimac, to talk about this incredible car. So I'm going to ask with the simplest question of all first. What is the Destrier?
It's the third one-off in our program Solitaire, based on a Bolide, and this was a really unique opportunity for us to build a car around this incredible package. You know, what people think design is like drawing something on top of something, but actually what you can't draw, what you can't like create with just design is proportion. That's the technical basis of it. And this is an incredible proportion, like 1 meter tall.
Yeah.
Just 1 meter tall.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know,
when I first saw it, I thought it looks like all the sketches that Frank does. You know,
Yeah.
massive wheels,
Yeah.
low thing, and actually he got to make one of his sketches.
Exactly.
Which, so Bolide chassis underneath.
Bolide chassis.
Bolide
W16.
engine, W16 engine. We keep writing, oh, it's the last
last
W16 model, and then you keep coming up with, with a new one. How does an idea like this come to be? The Solitaire program, do you come up with the idea and then find the right customer, or did a customer come to you and say, I've got an idea?
It goes both ways.
Okay.
We just had a customer of the next Solitaire just right here, and as we were walking around, he's like, oh, I have an idea, this is what I want to do, like this is the kind of lights I want to have on the car.
Yeah.
So some customers, they have a very clear idea of what they want. Sometimes we have already like something prepared, and then we talk to a potential customer that we think would be the right one for the project, and you know, he falls in love with it, and that was the case with this one. So this customer has some of like the best modern Bugatti collections in the world. He has some really beautiful cars, and we knew him very well, and Frank had this idea to build this car, and yeah, it was a match. Is
it road legal? Is it going to be road legal? Talk about that.
Well, it has the ingredients, but it's not. I mean, it's a Bolide base, it doesn't have airbags, it didn't go through, let's say, road car crash testing, but it does have some elements of it, like for example, it has fans on the radiators, so you can stop, like it doesn't overheat. It has road tires, it's the Tourbillon tires, and different suspension, different brakes and so on. So like if you invest a little bit of additional effort, like to go through something like an individual vehicle approval in the UK, you could. But this is a US-based customer, and he didn't decide yet if he wants to here and there use it on the road or not. Making it road usable or legal is like one element of it. The most important element is like this crazy, beautiful, elegant design that will be, I think, still interesting like in 50 years time.
Yeah.
You know, what we think about is like, how will this look like in Pebble Beach on the lawn in like 50 years when we're all gone, you know? I might not.
It'll just be a load of load of robots watching the announcement.
Like the monkeys did a good job at that time.
Those silly humans. Let's walk around it, because I want to. There were so many things. The wheels, for starters, the Bolide's on like 18s, isn't it? So straight away you've got these huge rims.
Yeah.
What about around the front end?
Of course, machined from solid block. You know. Oh. I love that. Like, if something looks like something in a Bugatti, it is that. You know, it's machined from solid blocks. Of course, you have the central line, this visor team, the air intake here on the roof, and it's an actual real air intake for the engine, so you don't have a rear window or a rear mirror.
This is the model, right? So it doesn't have the engine. I mean, it's a hell of a model.
It's an actual Bolide underneath, but it's not a running car.
Okay.
It will take us 2 years to actually build a running car. So the final car will look 98% like this. It will look even a little bit better. Like we are still making some small tweaks.
Okay.
But there's so much engineering between this and then the actual car in the end, so that there is a lot of work still to finish this. But we are quite good at getting to the actual car in the same way like we showed it initially.
How deep does that development and testing go with the Solitaire car? Because there's only one of them.
Yeah, but we actually do a lot of testing of that car. So we do all the aerodynamics, like the simulations. We even do setup of suspension and steering and brakes. Sometimes even the tires are tweaked for that car. We build up the car. So for example, the Brouillard, we build it up with dummy parts. So that car we build up with dummy parts to not damage the actual customer car. And we went to tracks and tested the car, drove the car, set up the steering, the brakes. even though it's just a different body, we really make it to the highest level of performance and quality that we can. I think we do more testing for a Solitaire than some smaller brands do for their normal cars.
So just try and help us understand the importance of these really special one-offs to your kind of master plan for the brand.
Well,
assuming you have a master plan.
Not sure. So some of our customers are really, really close to us. We spend a lot of time with them. They are great customers. They go through these journeys with us of creating special cars. And we wanted to give them the opportunity to create their own, like the ultimate opportunity. So basically, when they create a one-off, a Solitaire, they become me. They sit with the designers and engineers and they tell them what they want. Mm-hmm. So they can create the design, the story of the car. Like, is it a track car? Is it a road car? Mm-hmm. Is it more luxury? Is it more performance? Mm-hmm. Is it about aerodynamics? Yep. Is it about beauty? Mm-hmm. They give it a name. They choose everything, and they sit with the engineers. They sit with the designers. They can, come in and out, just like
they get a pass.
Yeah, they get a pass. Exactly. They get a pass. They go to our design studio. They go to our engineering studio, and they can define everything they want and be part of history in the end.
In the Top Gear office, unanimously positive. We love it, and I think that's because everyone makes their first knee-jerk reaction on design.
Yeah.
And right at the beginning of this, you're like, this car is proportions like we've never seen for a fully fed in.
Like look at that road negative car. Space.
I know.
There. Like, man, like it's just crazy. I mean, I love the Valkyrie as well. Valkyrie has these negative spaces, but this elegance of that.
And it's sort of the Bolide is all about that extreme downforce and aero. This is just like pure.
Yeah.
And I mean, it still has a wing.
Yeah.
Right? But that wing kind of grows out of the back of the car in this kind of organic way. It's super cool. I just want to check out the exhausts as well, because they're pretty serious.
Yeah, like bazookas,
Yeah. So what's the aero? Obviously less downforce than the Bolide, but
performance is secondary to this car. It has a lot of performance. I mean, the Bolide originally was, shrink wrapping the smallest and nimblest car you can around the W16.
Engine. Yeah.
And the W16.
The W16 with 4 wheels on it.
Yeah, it's like a big chunk of metal, a huge thing, together with the gearbox and the 4 turbos.
Yeah.
But performance, of course, is there with 1,600 horsepower, 1,800 kilos of weight, but it's not the primary driver behind the car.
I'd be interested to see if the owner of this is brave enough to take it on a racetrack.
Yeah, I just asked him like an hour ago here, like, will you actually drive this car? He's like, I'm open to anything, let's see.
Would you let Top Gear drive this car? Well, I'm not open to everything. So the only other thing I was going to say is just the creativity this unleashes, because you can have a million ideas for what a Bugatti could be. Right? Yeah, it could be this, it could be this story from our heritage, it could be this crazy new technology, it could be whatever. But then you come up against reality, right? So, profitability, business case, tooling, all these things. Whereas the one-offs, you correct me if I'm wrong, unleashes that limitless possibility.
Maybe I'm crazy, but I built a company from a garage, to 2,000 people. And I took this brand on when everyone said it's losing money, it will never make money, it's impossible, Volkswagen was just sinking billions into it. Last year we made 200 million EBITDA, and that's just a start.
Yeah.
And I think really long term, and of course I'm a business guy as well, but for me, it's all about the product. And if you have a great product, I think everything else comes afterwards.
The business grows around it.
Yeah.
Sure.
The people, of course, are for me number one, but they know shareholders, structure, all of that. It's all secondary. All of them will be happy when the product is great and the company is doing well. So, with the Tourbillon, I think we really nailed it. What the customer wants. Mm-hmm. You always have to be a few steps ahead. If you ask the customer always wants a faster horse. Mm-hmm. So you have to do a little bit more than the customer thinks he wants. Mm-hmm. And then when you show him, then he's like, oh, that's actually what I want.
Yeah, the full Steve Jobs effect. We'll tell them what they want. Not quite there.
Yeah, a few steps ahead. So this is also profitable for us.
Yeah.
So the one-offs are profitable, but it's all packaged, part of the story of of Bugatti, of creating this top of the line brand, and we are very confident this will be like the most successful supercar company in the world.
Let's have a look inside.
Yes.
Because almost just as the exterior of this car is a bonkers take on the track-only car, the interior as well.
Let's do it.
Let's have a little look. I've seen some race cars in my time, but they don't look like this on the inside.
Yeah. I don't want it to be just chunking out like one-offs and like just changing a little bit, and like it'll get boring very soon. So we really want to have substance, and like with this car, you know, it's not just a little bit changed bolide, it's really different.
Yeah,
the interior, like imagine, this is like, to achieve the height of the car, which is 1 meter, you have to have a completely different seating position, but it was designed for like a helmet, and you know, you are very tight in there. This needs to be like a road car, so it's very different. Like you don't have the bolsters for the, you know, helmet protection, the Hans protection and so on. So it's taking the bolide ingredients, but very different. And like, for example, what we used here is this beaten aluminum.
Yeah, kind of like hammered.
Hammered, yeah.
Yeah.
So the idea is like Destrier is a knight's horse from medieval times, and that's like the kind of armor they had, like beat metal. Then we have some interesting fabrics in here that actually have copper threads through it.
It almost looks like, from a distance, like cork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually copper woven in there.
Oh yeah.
Here you see the architecture of the W16, this huge tunnel. And what I love about this is like the steering, so the ergonomics of the buttons, you know, like the these like rotary buttons and the push buttons. Like you don't have to remove your fingers from the steering, like you can do all of it while driving really fast on the track.
That is the most luxurious yoke I've ever seen.
And you know, the advantage of starting with the track car, no airbags.
Of course.
So that's the advantage. Therefore, 6-point harness.
Yeah.
When you don't have airbags, you do have a 6-point harness.
Yeah.
And I love the air conditioning outlets, like, you know, in the form of the exhaust.
Sure.
They also look like machine guns.
Awesome. I'm incredibly jealous of this customer that not only, as you say, gets to own this car and drive it and whatever he chooses to do with it, but he got to go through the whole process. Well, there's still 2 years of that process still to go. So that's the real ticket, isn't it? That's what you're getting, this kind of the chance to be, for a small fee, you can be the CEO of Bugatti for
but just the nice part.
Yeah.
You just do the nice part. You don't deal with all the...
He doesn't have to do the earnings calls and stuff like that. I spotted the tourbillon around the corner.
Yeah, we just heard it.
Can we just go and have a little look?
Yes.
Can we? Yes.
Let's do. This thing is basically 2 tons of blood, sweat and tears. This was my life the last 5 years.
You're nearly there.
Yeah, nearly there.
Nearly there. Bit of crash testing, bit of tweaking and then
software, lots of software.
Delivery next year.
Beginning of next, like early 27. And you know, like, I know a story for every part of this car. Everything is new. Everything is new. There's one part we carried over. It's the light switch for the interior lights.
Oh, yeah, I spotted that actually. I was going to pull you up on that now.
And this car has no parts from Volkswagen or Audi or anything. Igor, can I get the key?
Oh,
no Volkswagen key.
Look at that.
This was one of my first decisions.
You can wear that around your...
But it also makes your life difficult. Like, all the little things you don't think about. Like, for example, like startup sequence. When you approach the car, when you push the door to open, which systems wake up, which don't. What happens with the cooling system? Like, do you turn the cooling system on when the door opens? And then, like, for example, the instrument cluster. You know, making such a decision to build an instrument cluster out of 700 parts with a Swiss watchmaker.
Because when we saw that, it was almost, I'm sure it was, the development was underway, but it was just a model.
Yeah,
and so we got the idea, but I was like, you've got to make that work.
Yes. And then you have like these little surgical servo motors in it, and they make like a very high-pitched noise. And you're like, how do we solve this then? Yeah, like it's like being at the dentist.
Yeah.
And then we had to get this out, and then they were making electromagnetic noise, and because of the control of it.
Yeah.
Like every part you touched, everything had like a million problems, because everything is from scratch.
Yeah.
Engine really solid. We didn't have a single one blowing up during the development at all.
Yeah.
Cosworth doing a great job.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. You would think, new engine, naturally aspirated,
Completely
V16. how we can't get the cooling, we can't get the, because I remember the Veyron obviously.
Well, there were challenges and issues.
Yeah.
I mean, it was not easy to develop it, and we really worked very closely. And to get emissions for this done, man, this was not an easy task. Like the biggest engine in the auto industry right now.
Yeah.
You know, naturally aspirated, all of that, not easy to make globally, you know, certified. It was very difficult actually.
Yeah.
The crazy thing about this car, when you put the battery and the electric motors and the gearbox and the engine next to that, you're like, where does this fit in this car? How can you put it in that car? But it's a packaging masterpiece. So the spoiler also, like, the diffuser, this was really complicated to do. So the diffuser itself is really complicated already. The tooling for that, like we did endless loops to improve the tooling for this, to make it possible to build it. And then on the normal tourbillon, the wheel is basically exposed.
Yeah.
And here you have this additional like aerodynamic feature and these 3 winglets that hold it together. And getting that out of a mold and still having it with visible carbon, it's completely crazy.
And
it's
the
really
idea of
difficult.
this is to eject the air over there so it doesn't interfere with the diffuser, or how's it?
Yeah, it's also helping the drivers behind you because, believe me, this will throw up a lot of stones. So don't drive too close to a tourbillon when you see one on the road, in a very rare occasion. And when you see one, go play the lottery ticket.
Unless you got PPF. Make sure you got the PPF. I actually saw a Corvette in the middle of Carmel yesterday with 8 exhausts.
Really?
But 4 of them were fake.
Okay, yeah. So
4 of them were stuck on.
when I saw it for the first time, we were like, is this too much for a Bugatti? And then I was told that Ferdinand Piech actually wanted to do 8 exhausts. And then I was like, okay, if he wanted to do it, if it's approved by Piech, then it must be good.
Approved,
so
all good. Oh, also,
we don't question Piech's decisions.
Also, the standard car doesn't have these, right? So it's an optional.
Yeah, it's an option. It's
so
pretty high take rate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
really?
like even more than half. Take the option. Yeah, but it's not like performance enhancing. It's really styling.
Can you switch it on for me? I'm going to stay back here.
You want to do it?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay. So hold the brake.
Yeah.
Engine start stop here in the middle. Yeah. Release. Okay.
Oh.
And now you pull. That's it. Wait now for a moment. Wait until it warms up a bit. Fast. Yeah. Rock and roll.
Oh man.
Rock and roll.
That is just the speed with which it revs.
Yeah.
You know, weirdly in my head, there's a lot of engine back there. Biggest engine in production. You just assume there's going to be
like a boat engine.
Yeah.
And I must admit, there is a little bit of electric assistance there.
Oh, with the engine. Oh,
with the revving.
Why not? I didn't feel it.
Yeah.
All I felt was that thing, the needle sweeping around.
That's the synergy between electric and combustion, right?
Do you remember they said with the LFA? Oh, it had to be a digital needle because it couldn't keep up.
Good story.
Well, technology's moved on.
Yeah.
I can see the mechanism working.
And the cool thing is when you see the needle move, all this behind what's moving, all these gears, that's actually what's moving the needle.
Yeah.
It's not for show.
Yeah. Man.
You know, me sitting here, like, for me, it's like just thinking, you know, how it started and the whole story, because it's not just development of a car.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I was handed the brand to make an electric Bugatti. That was my task, you know? And every sane person in the world being in my position would have done that because I had an electric platform with the tourbillon, with the Nevera.
With the Nevera, yeah.
And that's all I knew how to do for the last 15 years, right? I didn't know how to do this. And I had shareholders who were telling me, you cannot make a combustion car, you've never done it and you don't know what you're doing. So at the same time, it was development of the car, building up the company, and convincing everyone that we can actually do it.
Yeah. And you're nearly there. You're there.
Almost.
There. Congratulations.
Thank you, man.
So awesome.
And you were following it from the beginning. That's cool.